he's got to be keeping his powder dry in a sense, because if he wants to get club management, it might be more attractive job arrives better than the Ireland job. Basically, it just does seem chaotic that we've gone back to him. I do feel sympathy for John O'Shea, because I just think they're messing him around. I mean, I wouldn't have blamed John O'Shea for being pissed off and saying, stick up your arse now, to be honest, or stick up your bollocks, as Roy Keane once said, apparently. I know that Roy, they reckon that John O'Shea is actually in Dublin next week. I've heard that.
For a media appearance at the Europa League, yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't really understand why that's needed, to be honest. For promotional purposes for the Europa League.
He does a lot of work with UEFA, though, to be fair.
Maybe, yeah, he does, yeah. So,
I mean, he did the Euro straw, didn't he, and all that?
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah,
no, that's a profile and something that I think we should bear in mind. And again, I'd have no problem if John O'Shea gets it.
John O'Shea, so we should give John O'Shea the job because he does a few little nixers for UEFA, yeah? Okay.
No. I'm just saying it does no harm for his profile being involved. Yeah. Paki Bonner's involved with UEFA. The lads, as I said, in the lead up to the last game where he was interim manager, you had Glenn Whelan on UEFA courses with Paki Bonner doing presentations and things like that. That's just what happens. I don't think Barry is really a flyer. I think his stock is too high, if that makes sense. That I think he will go to a club job if that's what he wants to do. It makes sense. He's been involved in the club game more. Whereas John O'Shea, I think, is a reasonable person to get the job for us. Perhaps with Chris Hughton coming in. I don't know. But we don't know. And it's just a mess. I mean, it's just, I'm glad it's just going to get resolved hopefully next week, but I'm not holding out for it next week, Dave. Let's be honest.
Let's go. Well, I think Dan McDonnell and Mark Ty spoke about Anthony Barry. There was an article came out yesterday that, my mate Frank sent it to me on WhatsApp. He goes, Jesus Christ, like, oh my God. He goes, his exact words were, why don't they just have an open day? Whoever shows up, give it to them. Now, and he's accused me of being quite soft on the FEI, but I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to see. Because here's the thing, right? Everyone's saying, "Oh my God, this is a mess. You don't have anybody." But if you've come out and said so this is what Canham said on the 4th of March, right? I've got the quote here. The process of the appointment of the permanent new head coach is very close to the end, and we look forward to announcing that new permanent head coach in early April. Although looking now, it could be mid-April. Existing contractual obligations mean we are not in a position to announce any further details at this point. I don't know what to make. I really don't want to make on one hand. I'm going, I know I'm sorry, getting a bit muddled here, but on one hand, I'm thinking, Jesus, like these guys have really, they've really like done a great job in keeping this a secret from the press. And then you hear other reports and you go, Jesus, did they actually know what they're doing? I'm still undecided because it does depend, obviously, on what is unveiled next week.
That's the answer there, though, isn't it? We're only going to know whether it's chaotic and it's a complete mess when we know who the manager is, and you can go back and review the process and say, well, actually, they've got their man and they were upfront and honest and they've done well to keep it secret. And yet now they've unveiled this person as their manager, and they'll be asked in a press conference, were they the first choice or how have you come to that conclusion of this your manager? But if it goes wrong, which it may do, if it is it was very clearly a second, third choice, and it's exposed that these dates have all been missed and it's a problem, then it undermines Mark Canham and Jonathan Hill, basically.
Why does he keep, though? You raised the question. Why do they keep giving themselves deadlines that they don't just seem to be able to make? This whole elite talk, a deadline sort of speeds up the thinking, gets the juices going, we're here to deliver, we're competitive, all this elite kind of nonsense, or is it, maybe they're being let down by people? Because that's what, like, you're hearing these timelines keep moving. Like, it's gone from February, then it's to March. Well, I don't know if they said March, then it's early April. Now it's going to be mid-April. Then will it be pushed back? Then you're hearing, it could be late April because the next board meeting's on the 30th of April. I don't think that's relevant because you could just call a board meeting over Zoom like that.
Sadly, you're just going to get a bit fed up with it.
Do you reckon that's seeping into the press a little bit? Because it's obviously starting to get quite negative now, isn't it? And you hear the FAI now are starting to. I think a lot of people were. I'm still going to wait. I'm going to hold fire until I see who gets. And if that makes me, Frank, if you're watching, If that makes me like a yes man to the FA, then so be it. But I'm going to hold reserve. I'm going to hold judgment until I see who is unveiled, and I want to know the story of what happened, because it will be told. It'll have to be told at some stage. And if it's a case
it
of,
will be told, because they'll be asked by the media, and then there'll be secret little there'll be little snippets coming from Gavin Cooney and Dan McDonald. We get all them little bit sources have said this. The board will start talking because they'll openly be able to do so. So yeah, we will get the full story to some.